You.
Good morning,
It's
Paul.
good to
I'm
see
doing great.
you.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. We've had some change in this thing, and I know you've got the very latest, but tell me where it is and what your thoughts are.
So it did make landfall earlier this morning around 5:30, just south of Cancun as a Category
Hmm.
2 hurricane. So it has weakened a bit interacting with land. The latest update I saw from the National Hurricane Center were max sustained winds down to 105 miles per hour. But here's the
Hmm.
thing, it's going to be moving into the southern Gulf of Mexico later today and undergo that re-strengthening process once again as it heads closer to the Gulf Coast.
The speed at 115 still
105 as of the 7
105.
a.m. update. Yes.
The estimated time of arrival for us as far as the Gulf Coast and where, because the last I saw was possibly Morgan City, Louisiana.
Anywhere really, the Louisiana coastline is under the
Hmm.
gun. And it really will matter where it goes. If it's more towards western Louisiana or closer to New Orleans, will impact what we'll see here in Mississippi.
What is the water like, though, as far as the Gulf of Mexico? And I understand this is, the seventh day of October, and we haven't had a lot of cold weather. But it would seem the water is a little bit cooler than it was, let's say, a couple of months ago, and certainly last month.
A little closer to the coast, it is a little cooler, but in
Hmm.
the heart of the Gulf of Mexico, it is still very, very warm and very warm throughout from the top of the ocean all the way deep down into the bottom. And that is why this storm has the potential to rapidly intensify once again as it heads into the Gulf later today.
Kelly, when will we know? When will we get a better read on this as far as when the arrival will be?
I'm thinking by tomorrow, definitely. Models have really been honing in on the Louisiana coastline. They've
Hmm.
been pretty consistent with that, but it has sped up a little bit. Right now, it's moving northwest around 17 miles per hour, so it is trekking along pretty quickly. They have moved the time of arrival along Louisiana up into around Friday afternoon, evening, as opposed to Friday night, early Saturday morning.
That's
So
good
we'll have
news.
a
Yeah.
better idea.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is the turn still to the northeast? I'm sure it is, but is it through the Mississippi Delta areas, or a little bit north of that, or where is it? How's it going to impact our state?
It's still depending on a matter of 50 miles tracking to the west or the east. But right now, we are thinking that the heaviest rain, anywhere from 5 to 8 inches, will fall west of I 55, closer to the Mississippi River. And that area will see the strongest winds based on what models are showing
Yeah.
us as of this morning.
Then we also have to contend with the possibility of tornadoes within that storm system too, I would imagine.
Yep, always with these landfalling hurricanes in the right front quadrant of the system, you get those brief spin up tornadoes. That's again something else we have to add to the list to monitor over the next few days.
Okay, you look at this thing on page 3 and 4 when we just look on the first page. So, what do you see that could change this as far as the steering winds, any high pressure, anything else that may play into a change for us?
So there will be this big trough dipping closer to Louisiana, and that's just the upper level winds dipping
Hmm.
farther south. And what that does is introduce a little bit more wind shear, which typically tears apart the and weakens tropical systems like this. So as it dips a little farther south, it will introduce some higher wind shear for this system, making it a little weaker before landfall. But honestly, that isn't going to play a major factor. I think it's still going to be a major hurricane as it makes
Got it.
landfall by the end of the week.
As you see it right now, wind speeds topping what 100 miles an hour, Cat 1 or Cat 2 coming to shore.
Right now, they're thinking more along the lines of a low end category 3, around 115 miles per hour. But we have
Wow.
seen it this season. I mean, these storms have strengthened beyond the forecast. So it wouldn't surprise me if it strengthens more than that.
We would be on the east side of that, so what's it look like for us in the Gulf Coast area?
So whenever you're on the east side of the center of circulation, that's where the Mississippi Gulf Coast, depending on where the center lands, could see
Hmm.
the strongest storm surge as well as the very strong winds. So it really is dependent on a matter of 50 to 100 miles of where the center lands that will experience the
I
strongest
got you. We're
impacts.
almost we're almost 9 o'clock on a Wednesday morning. When do you think the first watches and warnings will start happening?
I think later today. We will
Later
get
today.
some hurricane watches and storm surge watches by this afternoon, I believe.
If anybody from Cruising the Coast called you, what would you tell them as far as how long you can get there without the weather just being really nasty?
Personal opinion, I would say by Thursday night, maybe should start packing it up and get ready
Yeah.
to plan to get out of there, because Friday is
Thursday
when
night,
things will start to deteriorate.
Thursday night, you don't need any of the convertibles with the tops down, is what you're saying.
No need to risk it.
No, that's right. And hail damage to some of those classics is not a good idea.
No.
All right, final thoughts on here, because I know this is going to be a moving target here, and we'll learn more, and we got to keep getting you back on the air. But what's the next update coming in?
We'll get the next update at 10 a.m. They come out every 3 hours from the National Hurricane Center. But my biggest emphasis is to not let your guard down, that the forecast will change throughout today and into tomorrow. And for everyone, especially on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, please continue to stay alert.
Has MEMA issued any directives so far that you know of?
We have 11 shelters on standby, and we also sent out some PPE that we will be sending out to those shelters early this morning. That shipment went out, and we sent out 160,000 sandbags to the lower 3 counties yesterday.
I got you. Kelly, stay in touch. Thank you, ma'am. If you need us, give us a call.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you. Kelly Richardson. Kelly is the meteorologist and public informations officer for MEMA. So that gives you an idea. It's 105 now, she said?
105.
105. Could strengthen, hit the coast at 115, somewhere between Morgan City and who knows where.